pounding surf and sunken Spanish galleons, asking folks whether they've had any experience with ghosts. And a surprising number say they have. We caught up with them traveling in their motorhome, looking for a good tale.
Get out. Get a recorder. Hi.
Good morning.
How are you this morning?
I'm just fine.
I'm Dave. This is Sharon.
Hello.
We're writing a book on ghost stories. And we'll just stop by to see if you had any type of experiences with ghosts or haunted houses or footsteps in the night or anything like that.
Well, I haven't had any experience with ghosts or haunted houses, but just one experience with my son.
Well, I think we both have always had an interest in paranormal activities. I grew up in a haunted house as a boy. I can remember Mom telling me stories of my mom and Dad would wake up and hear somebody walking down the steps. It was an old two-story farmhouse. And having a haunted house really was no different than anything else. They were never destructive, never mischief. They just walked a lot.
It's not the Hollywood version of ghosts like we're encountering and writing about. It's campfire type ghosts where you, as children, you're sitting around a campfire getting scared and knowing you got to sleep out in the tent all night and somebody's going to scratch on the side of the tent. You can bet on it. That's what we're interested in. And the humor. They have a sense of humor.
Some of the stories I've gotten off the internet have had one ghost does laundry. It washes the dishes, folds the clothes. We're saying the other night, why can't we get one like that that will wash the dishes every night and fold the laundry? You know, I mean, ours are not that. Apparently, they don't like housework.
The only thing that ours does is put the potty seat down.
Our trip today to Seaside is to visit with Sharon and Don Rogers. They rented our home in the house that we lived in Seaside after we moved up here to St. Helens. And they've had some real interesting, quote, ghostly experiences in their home. So it's not just us that have had them. There are other people that are experiencing similar type of activities in that house.
Hello. Hi. How are you? Oh, for so long.
Hi. So our ghosts have been kind of active?
Yes, they have. In fact, did you hear the back door just slammed shut?
And what's been happening?
A lot of lights flicker at night, late at night.
We had that same problem. In fact,
yes.
Right here where your TV's at, we had a lamp, and we'd be sitting on the couch. That thing would come on and off, and we'd say, "Stop it!"
So it would go to 3 levels of light and then shut completely off, and it would just keep repeating that until one of us would
yell at it until stop it.
It's annoying. It's annoying, but it's not scary. We already lived here in Seaside, but I met Sharon and Dave, and they said they were going to move and ask if we might be interested in living in the house. And I said, well, I'd love it, because I lived in an apartment, and then they told me it was haunted.
I walked in the bathroom one day, and all the toilet paper was hanging out the window and stretched down the driveway. And the window was open, and we never opened the window. And so I asked Sharon, I said, Sharon, why is the toilet paper hanging out the window?
And he tried to blame it on wind, but he knew there was no wind that day. So now he's a believer with other things that have happened.
I get ready to go to work one day. I went in the bedroom, and I keep my Pizza Hut hats on the back of a rocking chair. And I went to get my red hat, and it wasn't there. So put my green one on and went to work. Left the clothes here on the bed. And whenever I come back home, why, the red one was there. Whenever I took my green one off and went to put it on there, I saw that, and the clothes were back in the chair, and there wasn't anybody at home.
And I hadn't been here all day.
It's just little things like that that become comical. Oh, we lived in Seaside. It's just a multitude of little things like that. That there was nothing ever destructive. Most time, it's more like it was a childish prank.
We moved to Seaside, and first night that we were actually in the house, it was just at midnight, and I heard music. And I listened, and it was Waltzing Matilda. And I hollered at Dave. He got up and looked, and it was his shortwave that had come on, and it played this same song just over, wasn't plugged in or anything.
There was one other time, my children were visiting us during the summer, and 3 of them had come up, and we prepared hammocks down in the basement for each one of them. And I went to the top of the stairs, and I yelled down for my daughter Sarah if she was down there. And the voice answered back, yes, she was.
I was in the living room between where he was and where the kids were, and I couldn't figure out who he was talking to because Sarah was in his office. And then when he told me he'd gotten an answer, I thought, whoa, now they're going to start talking to him. Looks a lot different.
But this sure brings back a lot of memories.
I bet it does.
What amazes me is that this house doesn't look like it's haunted.
No, it doesn't.
You know, on any of the movies you see, an old spooky house,
Right.
or, you know, big Victorian styles, or you know, something creepy about it, that just kind of gives you the impression.
Right.
But you know, it might be the husband of the lady who used to live here. Apparently he died in the house,
Right.
and he thought maybe he might be him walking around at night.
Like with Tammy, since the lights went off on her that night, she makes sure the basement door is locked, closed and locked every night. And I told her, Tammy, if there's ghosts, they can come through the door. She goes, I feel safer with it locked.
Now, how old is your daughter?
26.
26.
Yes, and was a non-believer, but now she's a believer.
This is ABC News Nightline, brought to you by MCI.
MCI has important news that will have the whole world talking. Now, Friends Around the World gives you the lowest priced international calls to any 3 numbers you choose. And not just for a limited time. You'll get great savings every day of the week, every week of the year, to more than 280 countries and places worldwide. It's never been easier to call the people you choose. Call MCI today and join Friends Around the World. It's the best way in the world to save.
Presenting an average day in the life of an average American family.
They learned how to surf, walk, and talk all at the same time. I've ridden the fastest and the biggest waves ever ridden, and not many dads can say that.
I always tell the boys to drive safely, because pavement's a harder go down than water.
The water's flying over your head, and it's sparkling, and diamonds are flying.
We're a family, but we haven't exactly settled down.
If you thought the bell curve which linked race to intelligence was controversial, wait till you hear who funded some of the research. Watch World News Tonight with Peter Jennings.
The Arby's Melt for just 99 cents. Fresh sliced roast beef with a thick blanket of luscious melted cheddar only for a limited time. And only at Arby's.
For the first time ever, the car that changed everything is having a sale on many of its most popular options. And that can save you a lot of change during the Dodge Intrepid equipment sale.
Not getting your child all her shots is like leaving her out here alone. Babies need at least 11 shots by age 2. Ask your doctor. 11 shots by 2. How sure are you?
whenever we go somewhere, we're always asking people, have you heard of any good ghost stories? One of the ladies we talked to said her son had worked at a movie theater in Astoria that was haunted. And so we tracked it down and... Astoria's on the mouth of the Columbia River. It's about 15 miles, 18 miles north of Seaside. Yep, it's the oldest town west of the Rockies. A lot of old history there, real pretty. And it just hasn't changed much. The Liberty Theater was established in 1925. Has a ghost named Paul.
I don't like being here alone, because you don't know what he's going to do. It's like, is he going to start, you know, moving papers, or he's going to start banging on the floor, or is he standing behind you? I don't like it. My hair stands up on the back of my neck.
I've seen ghosts years before she started working here. I got locked in the bathroom the first time I ever came to the theater.
Well, they're all different characters. You got Mary, you got Lily, and you got Paul. Lily, she was killed in the theater. And Mary, the reason she's still here, she was thrown off the balcony. That's why she's here. Paul threw her off the balcony. Oh, I'm in trouble tonight. Mary, she really just goes back and forth from Theater 3 into ladies' bathroom.
Why don't you tell us a little about this Mary? You said you had an experience here?
Yeah, you come up the ramp, and if you're real quiet and there's nobody in here, the movies are out, then she'll come out and you can catch her in the mirror.
So,
or you see the women's bathroom in the mirror, just look up there and then you'll see her. Mary comes from around this corner from the theater, and she goes directly into the bathroom.
Which is hers?
This one. That is her bathroom.
And
she don't like nobody in there.
She don't like anybody in there?
No.
What more can you say?
Yeah. Lily, she don't like no man sitting in her seat in the theater.
This is her seat right here.
This is hers right here?
This is hers,
Does it have a number or anything?
No.
Apparently some man, it was her husband or fiance or somebody, sat behind her and slit her throat.
The glass fell down from up here?
Yeah. A friend of mine sat there. For no reason at all, he was in her chair, and this sheet of glass just came down right next to him. Paul, he's quite the character. Tell him about number 3, how he opens and closes that one slowly.
Oh, yeah, this one here. Yeah, he does. He opens up real slow. The door creaks open real slow. Then you go to shut it, and he just goes, bam, just slams shut.
I called her one time. Get down here. I'm not being alone in this theater. So she came down.
That was the night he appeared to me right there. The candy room door was opening and closing. And I told Leslie, I said, the candy room's open. She says, no, it's locked. I said, no, it's not. It's opening. And Paul was standing right about where you were standing. And I was behind the candy counter over there when he was...
How tall was he?
He was a little taller than you. He was probably about 6'1", 6'2". I mean, I turned around and he was standing there, and I was looking at him when he disappeared.
How did he disappear? Just vanish?
Yeah, it was just like somebody just shut off a light, and he was gone.
I don't like this basement one bit. I had to go down and change the CO2 tank, but I didn't have to change it because Paul turned it off.
What, turned a knob?
Yes, this knob.
So he turned that one completely off?
Yeah. And then I just looked up at the light bulb, and it just twisted itself off. Okay, right here.
Yeah, why don't you tell us about this room here, some of the things that's happened down here?
This is the room, I think, where he really stays at, because there's always stuff being moved. You're always hearing noises down here.
He tries to lock you in down there. I put a big bucket, you know, it's got something, I don't know what it is, but open the door, and I put the bucket in front of it, and the ice machine is right by the door. And I'm dipping out ice, and all of a sudden I hear scraping, and I look over, and the bucket's moving. Sliding across the floor, and the door's starting to slam shut.
Do you watch the bucket actually move on the floor, and then stop, and the door kept trying to... It's like in the movies.
Back in that corner, you get just the eeriest feeling in the world. Okay. So you go back that way, it's uncomfortable. Okay, this is the area where the office is upstairs, And he had this whole floor just going nuts upstairs.
This is the one that's rolling?
Yeah.
We're sitting in here, and back behind my feet here, the floor started tapping real loud, and then right about my heels, the floor started rolling up and down like this. It went across the room, started coming back, and about in the middle of the floor, started pounding on the floor, and it knocked her and I both up in the air. 3 times we left the floor, and 3rd time we came down and hit shoulders, and we were out the door.
I'm turning gray now, and he's making it come like real fast. I'm getting old working here.
This town is a ghost town, so a lot of people, that's what they like about it. It's why they come here.
There's this one guy came in here going, Paul, oh, Paul. I was going, oh, my God, don't get him riled up. I have to be here after you leave.
The new Chrysler Cirrus has an advanced 24-valve V6. Its cab-forward design conveniently provides room for 5 and a vast array of new technology. It has dual airbags and advanced rail-through construction for superior handling and quietness. Chrysler Cirrus. While its name is derived from the heavens, one of the best reasons to own one is very down-to-earth. Chrysler Cirrus. It's not just a step above, it's the new plateau.
You get older, and your body starts to feel it. You get smarter, and you know the difference between pain relievers. That's why you get Bayer, the wonder drug, not Tylenol. Both relieve pain, but Bayer aspirin does something Tylenol can't. Only Bayer relieves the inflammation of arthritis when taken regularly. Just ask your doctor. You get older, you get smarter, you get Bayer.
Next time, climb aboard as Charlie and I try our hand at whitewater rafting.
And then explore the role of historically black colleges in America.
Good Morning America from Atlanta.
Here on ABC.
Like cheese? You're gonna love new Pop Secret cheese-flavored popcorn. Each bagful is bursting with so much rich, cheesy taste, you know cheese lovers are gonna come scurrying. New Pop Secret cheese-flavored popcorn, so irresistibly cheesy, you can't keep it a secret.
No matter how you say it with a gift from the Yakima Diamond Center in the Yakima Mall.
On the next Coach. If the only thing standing between us and a $10 million athletic center is a stupid dog, we're going to find a stupid dog.
Coach needs a hound.
We call him Yoda. Are you joking? This isn't a dog, it's a pull toy.
But it's slim pickings at the pound.
And this one looks like a bag a dog used to be in.
Can he slide this one by?
This is the dog that saved your life?
Yeah, and it took a lot out of him, as you can see.
Tails will wag on the next Coach.
Watch KAPP 35, Tuesday evening at 7:30.
I love St. Helens area because it's still a small town. It's a beautiful part of the country. I think it's probably the most beautiful that I've ever lived in.
When we first moved here, we ran an ad on a local TV channel for ghost stories. One of the young ladies that presented some information to us mentioned about we ought to do a story on the ghosts of St. Helens, senior high school. I said, what ghosts? I went there. I graduated in '66. What ghosts are we talking about? And I hadn't heard anything about it. He said, oh, yeah, her name is Vera. Apparently the ghost came over when the high school did a Music Man production 11 years ago and stayed ever since.
Hi, Barry.
They borrowed some band uniforms from the Pacific University in Forest Grove, and apparently the ghost came with the uniforms to the high school.
No idea as to who was doing the footwork on the stage, but it was...
Now, where Vera got involved is the fact that these band uniforms were stored in the basement of the music department over there. And Vera was a music student there at the turn of the century who was murdered one night. We were doing a Connecticut Yankee in King Arthur's Court, and there's a scene in there where they have an eclipse. And so we were just practicing. The stage was a mess. I said, okay, the lights go out. And everybody crawled under the table. And they did their lines that they're supposed to stay down there. And I said, okay, the lights come on. And they did. They all came on. Every light on the stage came on, and it was full power. And a couple of kids looked up over the table and said, who turned those on? And we all looked at each other and said, I don't know, because the lights were on up in the booth, and we could see there was no one there.
Our whole lighting system in this auditorium is governed by a computer up in the light booth. This light that we have...
One light in particular.
If we turn off the computer up above, the light will still come on. We can unplug the computer, and light will still come on.
My name is Dean Ebert, and I work here at St. Helens High School. I've been here since this foundation was poured.
Dean is, well, he's an old friend of ours, but he's been around the system for actually longer than I have. He works as a graveyard custodian up here.
One other person, myself. We do the night crew, chase the dust bunnies in the halls, say. And a few other things that kind of surprise us here in the auditorium once in a while.
Several years ago, he and one of the other guys that was working here at the time were doing their rounds and checking the rooms, and they saw all the lights on in here.
And he has to come back in the hallway area here to do the restrooms and the dressing room. He come flying out of there, just really moving. I mean, he said somebody's playing the piano. So we came in, and as we came through the door, the piano stopped. And all the lights are on. Somebody's having a great time. We don't know why or who, but...
There's no way we can explain them.
Things that we've seen, or things that people that we say, no, they're not going to be exaggerating anymore, and believe it. No. Whether you believe in ghosts or believe what's happening, there's something happening here, and it's fun.
And is it true that if you don't acknowledge her,
something goes wrong?
Something does go wrong.
We found out there were several plays that we didn't put Vera in the program and things would go wrong. Superstitious theater people, we put Vera in every program, and so she's listed as house security for the plays. And so the kids are always, once we get the programs printed, they're always double-checking to make sure we've included the name, because it's important to them now to make sure that she's there so nothing goes wrong.
We were talking this morning about why small old towns are breeding grounds for ghost stories. And I guess we've kind of come to the conclusion that they're everywhere. It's not just the small towns, they're everywhere.
This shop is very much different now. Ford cuts